Presiding Commissioner Dan Culver,
Present.
Commissioner Matt Bass here, Commissioner Jim Mays here, County Clerk Rick Wilcoxon present, Chief Deputy Kim Ingersoll,
Present.
Sheriff Mike Krigbaum.
Present.
Would you gentlemen please identify yourself for the record?
Michael Lang, I'm a captain from the Sheriff's Office.
Krigbaum, I'm Major, Sheriff's Office.
Jonathan Hunt.
All right. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
Culver.
Thank you. The agenda mentions approval of previous meeting minutes. We've had a little technical difficulty, and the meeting minutes for yesterday will be approved late this afternoon with the rest of the minutes, so we can move straight into the first report, which we are pleased to have with us, Sheriff Mike Krigbaum. Welcome to the new County Commission.
Well, thank you, and welcome yourself.
Thank you. We have, let's see, we have a 40-minute time slot for you if we
40.
need it.
Well, I don't know if we'll need 40 today. We may later on this
Right.
month.
Right, and I have
We
you,
busy next week. Is that when we're going?
Log them in. Well, next
Just
week
it.
might be a little
Okay.
shorter, yes.
Right.
I-
Next week we may be a little short on our time. We're doing Jeff City, so.
Okay,
we'll
I
come
have
on and
you-
leave direct
penciled in every Tuesday
at the 9 o'clock hour.
at the 9:05.
And we'll do that at
And then
least
every-
through the, if that's all right with you guys, through the first month at least. And
Right.
once we get to that, we'll see what we need, but I don't know, you'll have to ask these other two gentlemen, but I think it worked out, I know it worked out a lot better for me just coming in once a month than it did every week, because, you know, if something big comes up, I'm gonna call anyway.
Right,
Other than that, it's just, and I don't wanna say a waste of time, but it's just,
Right.
you guys got other things you need to do, and so do I.
okay.
So through January, we'll definitely do it every Tuesday. Like I say, next Tuesday, we're gonna be short just a little on ours. We'll be here. We need to run out.
It'd be pretty brief.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't have a whole lot to report other than I'll give you some of the facts that we've been going through as far as the marshals are concerned and the ICE. In fact, I'll just start at the beginning because some of you know and some of you don't know all of it. We had an escape, of course, everybody knows that, I believe, and because of that escape, we had to make some modifications. There was a design flaw found in our jail. We went ahead and put the exact number, I'm lost at right now, but it's about $15,000 in steel and labor to fix that design flaw. Since then, we've also installed a new gate and barbed wire, or it's actually razor wire on top of the jail. That was requested by the marshals. That was about a $27,000 fix. That is all completed as of today. We're still waiting for the new ladder to go up on the side, which should be in place, I hope, next week. They were building it this week. And that's just from the first floor to the second floor, basically on the outside, so they can get up there for maintenance people. The ladder they currently have is antiquated at best, I guess, is
right,
what I can say.
I've heard about the ladder.
Okay, so that should be in place hopefully next week, I would hope, and then we're ready to go. I've spoke to back in December, the first week of December, we have an annual ICE inspection. They came in for 3 days, I think it was the 3rd, 4th, 5th of this December, and they did our 3-day inspection. That will take at least 5 weeks to get anywhere where anybody's gonna see it. They have to write their stuff up and then send that off to ICE in Washington, and then it comes back, so it's at least 5 weeks before anybody sees that. We know pretty much what it contains and have fixed most of the deficiencies. I don't believe we had any major problems. There were a few deficiencies with, one was keys, I think. They had keys that weren't accounted for, or they were there, but they just weren't listed
Right.
on the list. Another one was, we don't have an outside rec, which we get nailed for every time, but we can't have an outside rec. We don't have a barber shop. You know, it's just things that are in their standard that we don't have. So that's not a big deal.
The outside rec,
Yes.
how far have we pursued that issue?
We have not, actually, when I came into office 2 years ago, I actually asked about an outside rec and was told, and just took it for face value, that we were not allowed to have any fenced-in areas out there.
Right,
because of the developers.
right,
So we didn't go any further.
right, and that's my understanding, that it's
Right.
always been assumed that we couldn't.
Right. And actually, I believe I talked to this board about it, or this commission about it, and that's what I was told then. I'm not sure if it was Sean or who, but something to do with the developers don't allow that. I know they had to have a special variance or something from just for me to get the razor wire on
Right.
top. But that was a have-to-do thing. But anyway, we got our inspection done. We've fixed most of the deficiencies. We're waiting on the actual report to come back so we can make sure we've got everything done. Then I've also talked to ICE personnel, and ICE personnel tell me we will get our ICE prisoners back. But they're not for sure when because of waiting for the report, basically, and what Washington tells them. I've talked to the Marshal Service. Marshal Service has also told us we would get our prisoners back, but he can't tell me when exactly because they have requested the ICE inspection. Now, for those that are not familiar, we have a inspector come into when we're housing prisoners, federal prisoners, we have an ICE inspector in weekly who inspects us. And a US Marshal's inspector's in there monthly to inspect us. So we go through an inspection, and it's very rigorous, but nobody anticipated somebody going out through that roof.
Sure.
So right now, we're kind of paying the price for that, I
In other
guess.
words, it didn't become a design flaw until somebody actually escaped from it.
Exactly.
Because they knew it
Exactly.
existed before
Well,
someone escaped.
my understanding was that in the Torres administration, they had a problem with that and actually welded two pieces of steel, one on each end, thinking they took care of the problem. Unfortunately, this guy went out through the middle part of it, so
Right,
they thought they had it fixed, and evidently it was not. What it boils down to is we actually had somebody in there who wanted out really, really bad, and he was willing to do whatever he had to get out. So I actually am glad he went out that route instead of a different one. We could have had someone injured or hurt or whatever, so. Anyway, we're still waiting on that. That is going to be about the third week in January before we'll even be able to see that report, and I'm sure the marshals won't get it until after then also. We're ready for them. We're asked for an inspection. We're waiting on their reply to that, whether they're going to give us their inspection or not. But last I heard was they were just going to wait for ICE's because it's much more thorough when they come in and do an actual 3-day inspection on us. They look at everything.
I know they're elusive when it comes to time frames, but do we have experience in the time from when they typically get a report to when they?
Usually a couple months. I mean, that's what my experience is with them. It takes a couple months by the time you actually get something and get results from that.
So realistically, it could be end of March before
March, I would
we
say.
have prisoners back?
February, late February or March.
And that's for ICE and US Marshals, you think?
Right. And that's the only two that we have out. We still house everybody else.
You still have,
We had, in fact, I can tell you what we had at the end of the year. Oh, no, I can't. Yes, I can. Daily count, I can. 64 inmates at the end of December.
and how many ICE and Marshals prisoners did they take out?
34 marshals and 13 ICE. 12 ICE, I think, in one of those.
So somewhere a little over 40.
Mm-hmm.
How does that, as far as how many federal marshals, ICE prisoners could you house if you were bursting at the seams? How many?
216 is my total capacity, and that's with every single bed full.
Right. Now, how many do you typically keep occupied with local people?
Well, normally about 60-something of each, somewhere in that neighborhood.
So you normally have about 60 state and local people, and about 60.
60 ICE or marshals. And then there's a variance of others, because we bring people back from the penitentiary on writs to go to court.
Right.
We house for other municipalities here and there.
Right.
So,
So conceivably, there's about 40 beds in there that
aren't being taken right now.
that aren't being taken. we really have no control over, you know, we can't go to the marshals and say, hey, we
We try. We try to get all we can, and that, in fact, that's why we have, our transport, the other ones are starting to do it, but our transport, now the sheriff's office, we run runs for them everywhere. When we're sitting down in St. Louis waiting for our ICE prisoners, if they need, our marshals, they need somebody picked up from St. Anne, we'll run out and get them and bring them back to them or something like that. And because of that, we normally get a couple, 3 extra on our runs back here. So we do whatever we can. We have at one time, back in the old days, let's put it, when the other sheriff was in, they had 80 prisoners, I think, at one time, something like that. Is that right, Jim? Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. But with the economy going down the drain like it has, they backed off also. I think the most we ever had was 62, 63, somewhere in that neighborhood. Marshals. 65, I don't know, something like that, but it's in the 60s, I think is all we've ever had, because they can't afford to have them all, so, you know, they can't afford to
Okay, I will,
house
I'm
them
gonna
either.
try, I gotta go home and talk to her. Okay, take care. All right.
what else?
That's basically it, I just wanted to let you know where the status was
Get on
on
the
that.
street.
I know we're gonna have to talk about budgets here sometime. and
Yeah, I just got
they may not be
Right, I just got the budget information Friday
Okay.
and have started to look through it. So I'm ill prepared to get into the meat and potatoes of the budget discussions.
Have no problem with that. I'll save this for a later time then, because it actually shows my people and where they are and so on and so forth. I will give you a copy of this, so if you like it, it is a copy of the letter that I send quarterly to the circuit judge on the condition of the jail. Now,